mentioned about producing music on a kitchen platform.
Yeah.
Guy says now we know that TroyBoi chops his vocals over there. So tell me more about that. Where's the studio like, and how is the vibe over there? You have any studio or something?
Okay, so basically, I've always pretty much worked from home, and a lot of the music which I made in the beginning, I made, like I said, in my home, standing up in my kitchen, literally physically standing up, because in my house, I lived in a small studio apartment, so there was literally nowhere for me to really kind of sit and make music. So I'd literally have a little tabletop, standing up, I put my computer and my keyboard there, and I'll just stand up and just make music. And it almost helped me to make good music because I was already standing up. So when I'm making the music, I could dance, I could get into the feel of it instead of just being sterile like this, you know. Now I've moved out of the smaller place, and now I've moved to Miami actually. So I work from home. Obviously, I have a little bit more. I have more space. So I'm sitting comfortable now. I mean, I chill in my living room and just get
But
in the zone.
you miss that old vibe.
I mean, it's very, very fond memories. Don't get me wrong, I still stand up in my house when I'm making my music and have a boogie to it. So yeah, things don't change still.
So different elements in your music, diverse elements. So how do you go through it? You make samples, or how do you crack those things up?
I mean, usually when I make music, I don't really try to like force anything. I have moments where I do get stuck for ideas too, which is very, very normal. And when that does occur, I just kind of just step away from it and just come back to it, you know. But that's fine. But then usually when I do make my ideas, I'll start off with like my drums, and then from there it just flows. I never really kind of say to myself, I want to make a hip hop track today, or I want to make a house track or a chilled out song. It just writes itself. And that's one of the things that I learned from one of my mentors, Michael Jackson. He always used to say, you know, never concentrate on the music, just let the music write itself. And me hearing that from a very young age, that really sat well with me, and that's exactly the approach I make with making music.
So if TroyBoi not making music,
Okay.
what would be TroyBoi doing if not making music?
I'll tell you where I would be. I would most probably be in housing, selling and renting housing, in property. Because real estate. I was doing that for 8 years before all of this. So when I finished college, I went straight into a job, and my first job I landed as a real estate agent. And I literally from there just mastered that for like 8 years. And it was only when I was 25 which I had the decision to either continue and potentially own my own company or pursue music. And then the opportunity arose, and music was the thing for me. And music was always the thing for me. Even when I was working a crazy job, like I used to wake up at like 6, 7 in the morning and then get home at like 10 o'clock at night. And then when I got home at night, I would spend 7 hours making a beat. So for me, making music was always like my passion, my hobby. So doing this for me is a dream come true.
You keep uploading and releasing music on a regular basis. So how do you do that? I mean, as you said before, you have that, sometimes a musician faces that music blog or something.
Yeah.
But how do you tackle those and keep updating your listeners with regular music releases?
Well, this is the thing. A lot of the time, or especially of recent, I've been on tour, and when you're on tour, well, for me personally, I find it really difficult to kind of spread my attention between making music and touring, because when you're doing your shows and traveling, it can get very, very exhausting, very tiring. So, which leads me on to my next thing. So, I just finished like one of my major tours, and I've literally spent, well, when was it? Two months ago, I had 2 months off, and that's when I created my album. And for me, when I have no time, when I have like literally free time, that for me is the best time for me to make my music. It's quite hard to keep updating people, especially when you're on tour, but somehow I try to find time,
squeeze out time between your tours?
Of course, when I'm on my time off, like I said, music is always going to be a hobby for me. So even when I'm not doing anything, making music for me is fun. So that's probably the times when I can have time to feed my people, my fans.
So how close are your roots with India? Your music explains a lot of things, but how close it is?
Very, very close. Very, very close. Very near and dear to my heart. Like my mum is Indian. She was born in Calcutta, and she has like mixed heritage as well of like Chinese and Portuguese in her lineage too. And my dad's Nigerian, so there's a lot of culture.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And all of that is what I think has provided the essence of my sound. Like from when I was a baby, like my mum and my dad used to just play various music in the house. My mum, I used to just watch non-stop Bollywood movies with her all the time. So, and as you already know, Bollywood movies, there's so much music and it's such like, it ranges from super, super happy, upbeat stuff to super sad, emotional music. And I think with all of that, I absorbed it all, and it plays a big part in my music today.
Coming down to this India tour, you have been to New Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, and soon you'll be going to Chennai as well.
Yes.
So how is your experience till date? All the cities, different cities?
It's been mind-blowing for me. I feel like me coming here has been almost like the missing link for me. Like actually coming here and seeing the people and seeing how everyone responds to the music, especially like the more Indian influenced stuff. For me, it's kind of like a check for me that it's like it's in tune. You know what I mean? And like what I'm doing is for the right purpose. So I mean, everyone has responded so well in every single city, and everyone's had such a unique audience. So I'm super happy. Really happy.
You said unique audience in different cities. In India, we have New Delhi and Mumbai are totally different. Okay, in terms of their people, in terms of their attitude.
Sure.
And how did you experience that difference?
Well, I mean, I felt that the New Delhi crowd was a slightly younger demographic.
Okay.
But they were crazy. Oh my God! Like I mean, these guys were insane. I mean, I was so overwhelmed with how excited everyone was to see me. And I mean, from the moment I pressed play on my first track, it was just mental. Like everything was just wow. Like just even thinking back to it, I'm like, it's just crazy. And then again in Mumbai, the same thing. Like I mean, that was a slightly older demographic of people, but the same. Like everyone was just so wild and so ready and so loving, and yeah, it's perfect for me, man. Yeah.
This week, we lost someone in the music. Depression leads to suicide. What piece of advice you would like to give to someone?
I would definitely say to speak to someone. I mean, a lot of the things with depression is that a lot of people feel that they're lonely and they have no one to talk to and nowhere to go. And one of the first things you need to do is to speak to someone. And because that someone you speak to could have potentially stopped something else, a bad decision, And my dad has always taught me like prevention is better than cure. And if you can prevent something from happening, even by speaking to someone, that is always going to be the best option. And it's very, very sad to hear, the news from Lincoln Park, and it's sad it had to go that way. But can you do?
Exactly. So, are you planning to come back to India soon?
Absolutely. Like it's been an incredible experience for me so far, and like I said, this is home. Like it feels like home for me. So I definitely want to be back very soon too, bigger and better.